Okay, so the first thing I do when I get a project like this, in this case, we were using a Sony camera and some drone footage. The first thing I do is I get all the footage in. In this case, I was given a DRP, which is a DaVinci Resolve project, which I just open, relink all the clips, and we're set. I always like to have an offline reference clip to my left so I can make sure that the cuts are perfectly timed and sized. When I get stuff from Premiere or from Avid, it's a bit harder. With this, it's pretty straightforward because we're using the same project and the same NLE, so we're good, as you can see. So I got all the transitions. The only transitions I didn't get are some pay transitions, which I did not have, but other than that, everything was perfect. So once I see that everything's fine, I go into my color grading tab. What I like to do is I like working in a color managed environment. So what I do is I come in here, I set my project up. In this case, I have the color graded sequence I have it in another sequence, and I'm like starting from scratch here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my sequence or timeline. I'm gonna go to timeline settings, and instead of going with the traditional DaVinci YRGB Rec 709, I'm gonna go with ACES CCT. Why I'm using ACES is because I wanted to try that ACES 2.0, and I knew that the ACES 2.0 had a new transformation for drones for DJI, so it fit perfectly with what I was going to do. I choose no input transformation. I just leave it as is. And for the output, I choose Rec 709 because that's the color space we're going to be delivering in. So I go okay. And as you can see, well, it did not really automatically like tell me where this comes from, because not all of it is raw. But like on raw footage, it does tell you. So for example, here we can see it's Sony raw. On this one, we don't know. I mean, the system doesn't know because it doesn't have the metadata. So what I do is I go right click and I choose whatever color space this is. I think this is, yeah, for example, this one specifically is a transition that Jake put. So it's like a film burn effect. We got a couple of those. So those I've chosen to be Rec 709. As you can see here, it's Rec 709. And I do that with my whole sequence. Okay. So for example, this is drone. It won't know it's drone, so I have to see there's no raw information here. So what I do is I have to choose it. Like ACES input transform. This is DJI. And I choose OK. Here as well. ACES input transform DJI. So I do that with all my media. Once I'm done with all the media, I start my color grading process. I use a fixed node structure because it helps me be faster. I believe I'm not having to create new nodes all the time. I have like nodes made for specific things. So I'll show you. I choose all my clips, Command A, and I have a gallery where I have all the nodes here. So I like to use a node structure that my friend Walter Volpato made for me, and he uses a similar one. So I right click on it, I middle click on it, and it's ready to roll basically. So I have my balance, my noise reduction. I have some specific per character nodes here. Then I have all of these like free nodes to do whatever I need to. Then I got like skies, like the ocean or maybe grass, log, which I use for some like using the log wheels or maybe using the HDR wheels. I have the curves beauty, which I use to make like beauty work on the face or something like that. Then I got my magic mask, which is right here, so that I don't it won't ask me to retrack if I do any changes, so it feeds straight from the source. And then I got my OFX. So I work on my secondaries here. Then I start working like past the secondaries, just doing any adjustments, OFX, vignettes. And these are my client notes or client corrections, so that if the client wants to see what I did before and after, I can just click on and off and we're good. So that's been copied all along, okay? And I start with my base grade. I go one after the other one, go do the base, do the base, do the base. And once I do it all, I'm ready to start working like on effects and stuff like that. What I also like to do, which I forgot before doing the base grade, if I'm gonna use a LUT, a lookup table, just to give it a look from the get-go, I like to group. In this case, I got groups here, and then we got look number 1. So I assign that to the group. It's giving it a specific look. I do that with all of them. And as you can see now, I got my group nodes here where I have my film box, which gives me the halation and grain that I want. And then I have a film look creator where I set my look. So now that you know more or less what my initial workflow is, I'm gonna jump right through to the actual grades for this commercial we did. So I'm gonna go to this, which is my grade. So this is where we left off on the other one, on the other tab. And I did my balance. I put the lights up. I didn't want to go too far up because I felt that the lights here were a bit too strong, and it's a pretty dark shot from the camera. So then I went here and I did a mask just to boost this middle part here, trying to not to lose any detail. I mean, it lost some of the green, but it's what it is. Then I came here and gave it a little bit of a glowiness with this aperture diffraction effects that I have here, OFX. Then these are notes that I was given by Nathan. So what I did here is I boosted up the shadows a little bit. If you can see, I'll bring up you can see here what I've done exactly. So I'll show you. See, I boosted the black levels. I left those so the shadows I lifted them. I left the highlights as is because I didn't want to go further than this. It was already good. I mean, I didn't want to go past that because I was going to lose more information, but I think this turned out nice. I did the same for this. This was pretty dark. I didn't want to lose the windows or the left and the right or make it too flat. So I made the most of this wall here and I boosted this part. Then that's it for that one. I gave it that aperture diffraction that I gave to the other one as well. And I started doing that for all of them. On this particular one, if you can see, there's a yellow wall in the back. So first of all, this is my initial grade, my balance. I like it a bit cooler so that the skin tones pop up better. Then I went on her. As you can see, this is her node. I just boosted her a little bit more. Then this is her friend, which is behind here. So I have her as well, boosted. But then this had too much light, so I made a mask there. And Nathan did not like this wall that was too yellow, so what I did is I made it whiter or white, almost white. So, which was great because as you can see, she pops up even more, and it's beautiful because she's got the blue here, so her skin tone really shows. So she won't be, I mean, she's really popping now. If I had it like that, she could be lost with all the warmth that there was on the scene. So I think it's a great decision. Here the same thing. So I did the same thing for this one. I didn't do it right here. Here it was a bit harder because her skin tone was a hard thing to pick. Sorry, the wall was hard to pick with her skin tone, which was very similar. So what I did is a magic mask. And what the magic mask does, I grab her, and as you can see right here, she was selected. Let me just, okay, yeah. So I selected her. Yeah, I grabbed her so it would affect everything but her. See, that's what I didn't want to be affected. So after that, I made an outside selection of it, and then I toned down the warmth of this. So where is this? See, I made it cooler, which helped these purses or bags pop as well, which was good. I did the same for all the other shots. Then I want to show you some of the beach shots, which are really nice. I like the warmth and coolness that we played with on the shots. Like, for example, on this drone shot, this is what I got after the LUT. The LUT that I have here is the same one I showed you from before. So if I turn this off, you'll see it's a bit flat. It's got like a grayish tone to it. So what I did is, first of all, I tried to balance the shot, give it a lot more warmth. But then I felt that everything was like too warm. So I came here and started, I wanted this to be like the sun, like a sunset. Then I made this cooler. I grabbed the sea with a 3D qualifier. So it just got the sea there, made it cooler. And then with the HDR wheels, I gave it a bit more contrast. So it's a bit more poppy. And this is what we ended up with, which I pretty much I really liked. I really like this because it gives you like a sunset feel to it. This one too. This is what we have after the LUT. So I gave this like cyany tone to the sea. Then with the log, we didn't do much. Here we did, Nathan asked me to give it a bit more warmth to make it sunset as well as the other one. And this is the end result. Now here, what I basically did is I gave it more, I played with some of the wheels to make it a bit more dense. See, I lowered the midtones, kept the highlights as they were, so that I didn't move them much, and saturated so it looked nice. This one, the same thing. We started off with a shot that was like this. So we started off with this shot, and then we did more or less the same sort of things. I see that this has gone loose. So we started with this balance that gave it a bit more color and a bit more contrast by pulling up the highlights a bit. Then I also grabbed the magic mask here, and this time I'm not sure what I got here, but I'm almost sure it's a boat. Yeah, it was this part of the boat which was going a bit too blue. So which is the bottom part of the boat, which I didn't want too blue, so I tweaked it so it felt a bit more warm, like this one. And then the sea, more cyan, played a little bit with the log wheels and the curves to give it a little bit more warmth around this area right here for it to look more like sunsetty. One of my favorite shots was this one. As you can see, there's not much color there, or much color separation, which I didn't like too much. He's a bit dark. So the first thing I did was I gave it more light and a bit more warmth. Then I came here and selected him, so he wouldn't be, first of all, wouldn't be so cool in temperature. And then this is the outside selection of that same shot, or that same, first I got him, then with an outside selection, I cooled the sea and everything else. Then here, yeah, I lowered this to recover some of the sky, which was, I mean, there's some texture there which we were losing because I pumped up the highlights and midtones. And then what I also did was, whoops, I got him and then the sea. And when I did that to the sea, as you can see, this wood really pops out. So we have the skin tones, that blue, the wood, and the sky. So I really like this shot. We started off here and then we finished off there. So then we go to the next one. This is more or less the same. I did more or less of the same thing. Boosted up the luminance in it. Did a couple of selections, especially to get the wood looking the same as the other one. I didn't bother to grab the old man because I felt that, sorry, I didn't really grab the man because I felt that it was such a fast move that I just didn't. Then for this one as well, I basically did that. I didn't like the sea right here. It looked a bit brownish, so I liked it like that, which brings out the skin tones and the red and all of that beautiful color separation. This was a hard one. Well, not hard because it was pretty easy to select the face with a magic mask. As you can see, I grabbed his face here. Well, first I did the balance. I pulled up the highlights. Then I made his face look brighter so we didn't lose him. But see how now I can see his face? I'm gonna reset this before okay. So it was like this. We ended up with him looking, I mean, we can see his face, so it's all good. Then another shot that I really liked was were these shots here. This one, yeah, that one. You see, I started off with this. That's after the LUT that I applied. So I brought up the light here. So we were more like in a sunset kind of mood. I made the sea more cyan. This is a magic mask for the sails, I think. I'm not even sure. Or the sky. I think it's the sky. Yeah, it should be the sky. I'm not gonna do that now because it'll take a while. But it was for the sky. It's pretty subtle, the effect. Okay, then we have this one. That's for the boat sails. to make it warmer. And yeah, that's a transition that Jacob put. And then this one, for example, there's so much warmth here that first I boosted up the midtones and the shadows. The highlights were left almost at the same spot. Then I did a magic mask on the guy's shirt just to try and bring out some blue in it. So what I basically did was, let's take the selector out. See, I pumped up the blue so it would have more color separation on it. So I really like that. There's also this like bluish elements here that help give it that mood. Then let's go to this one. Okay, this one, for example, there's lots of warmth here. I brought up the lights and I brought down, I try to boost some of those blues more so that it plays good with all the wood that there is all around them. Boost it a bit more. And that's basically it. That was an easy one. This one, for example, I felt that there was too much light on the sides and we were losing the characters. So what I did was I vignetted them so we have less light on the sides. This is the balance I did. We desaturated these trash cans so you can't see them. Here, this wasn't such an interesting one. This one, this is an effect I should have turned off. We start doing this balance. I like it a bit more green. Then we give it a bit more of the red to make it warm. Then I use a no effects, which is the same, the aperture diffraction, which helps make it look more dreamy. And that's the shot. Then this is a nice one that I really liked as well. In fact, let's look at this other one, okay? So here, I grabbed him. I separated his face so that we could see him better. And then look at what that does. It's magic. It's that aperture diffraction that really helps with the highlights. I mean, it can help, and it could also mess with the highlights a little bit if you're not careful with them. But yeah, this makes it look more like dreamy, I think, or I feel. Okay, so for the last shot, what I did is basically the same thing. I like starting with the balance at the beginning. This is what we get straight from the LUT that we've added at the end. So what I did is I like that blue instead of the magenta. I think it plays better with the warmth and the green. I denoised it. I then lifted these two guys up so that we can see them better because they were a bit in the dark. So we have this. These guys look okay. And then on her, what I did is I did a mask here. Let me just show you. Okay, so I masked her out so that she was more visible to the light. Let's take this thing out. So the magic mask on her follows her throughout the whole shot. And what that does is I added this other node here that's attached to it so that her face pops up more. And she doesn't have that like bluish light on her as much. We tried to reduce it as much as we could. Then We also gave it that aperture diffraction that we like, so that the lights, if you see the lights in the background and all the highlights around us, this is where I think it looks the best. See, so when I turn this on, you get this glowy feeling all around, which makes it a bit more magical and takes our attention away from the background, which it's barely visible, but we didn't like that much. Then we took away some of the luminance on the specific like color of the bulbs, which was that yellowy warm. And that's basically it. It was great working with Jake and Nathan. Looking forward to working again with you guys, and hope this was useful. See you again soon. Bye.